Hey everyone, I hope that you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining me on another video. All of the pictures that you saw were all shot with the original X100. They're the only black and white photographs that I made in the 3 days that I was in Florence. So for those of you that have been watching the channel, you know that I was in Italy from the month of September to the month of December. And when I got there in September, I had to do my quarantine. After my 2 weeks, we all went to Florence. That was the first place they took me. And I gotta tell you, Florence is a magical, poetic, beautiful, romantic city. We would literally get up in the mornings and walk all day, all the way straight into the late evenings, and then get up and do it all over again. I did a lot of what I call walking around shots. So being with a group changes everything as a photographer. When I'm by myself, I go wherever I want. I just go with intuition and I shoot mainly people. But when you're with a group, you go where the group goes. And for the first time in a really long time, I was a tourist, not an explorer. And so I gotta tell you that Firenze or Florence is a beautiful place to be a tourist. And it's a beautiful place to go with good company, like I did. All of the pictures that you're seeing were shot with the X100 original. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Another thing that I noticed is that I found myself going into places that I normally would not go and photographing things that I normally would not photograph. So for example, we went into this pharmacy. It's the first pharmacy ever in Florence. And I took pictures of things that I normally wouldn't even consider taking. Snapshots, if you will. And then we went to another shop, for example, the Geppetto workshop. And I thought that was really cool. I would have never walked in there, but I'm glad that I did. And I took a few different pictures of the workshop. And now in retrospect, I look at them and I could hear the people out in the piazza or the people out that were walking around or the things that I was thinking when I was there. And I do think that taking pictures of these snapshots or this snapshot type of photography, I do think that there is a place for that, and I do think that they can be quite valuable to someone who's traveling. Another thing that I want to share with you about Florence that is photography related are the museums, and not so much from the perspective of taking photographs within a museum or taking photographs of the art in these museums, but from this perspective of learning and inspiration. I can't even begin to tell you, standing there and looking at these paintings from like hundreds of years ago is incredible. If I were to move to Florence, I think that I would probably spend the first month going to these museums for hours, at least 2 or 3 times a week, and just stand there and try to memorize the color tones, the color palettes for editing. It's already changed the way that I'm editing my color photographs. And yeah, the museums are just ridiculously amazing. Firenze was an amazing city to visit. I'm going to go ahead and end today's video with one more segment. For me, photographing people is the most amazing thing. And this camera is also really good for that. There were some instances where I could have benefited from zone focusing, but yeah, overall, Firenze, amazing city, magical, and okay. I'm sorry guys, one more story and I promise I'll shut up and I'll play this last video. There was 2 evenings that were very, very special for me. The first one happened after the first day. We had walked all day, and in the evening we were walking through a piazza and there were some classical musicians there. And we sat down and it was like this concert, this live concert. And I remember thinking, that's incredible, because when I was a teenager, I would read a lot of historical novels, And in some of them, they would talk about Italy in like the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. And I found myself feeling like I had been transported into some alternate reality, and I was in this magical place, and I was now in one of those novels. For me, it was an incredible experience. And so the following evening, we went for an evening walk, and we ended up going over to that same piazza, and there was a female violinist there, and she was playing. I thought that the impact was already pretty magical the first evening, but on this second evening, I was even more affected by the music and by the experience. If I could make that little dream from my childhood come true, I'm sure that there's a lot of other dreams from my childhood that I could make come true. And so, I don't know, I think that's the power of Firenze, but I also think that that's the power of photography. And that's what I wanted to share with you. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'm gonna go ahead and play this last clip. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching this. And I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you, and bye.